Hey everybody, so I haven't been on here in a while, and since my page and platform is about mental health and wellness, I'm gonna do a story time regarding one of my sons. As you may or may not know, I'm a parent of three adult young men, and this is a story that happened when one of my children was 15. So this happened in 2012, October to be exact. Um, I was in a co-parenting situation. Um, my son's father lived in a different state than me. At the time, I was living in Wisconsin, and his dad was living in Ohio. So he would call, talk to his son, and promise him and tell him he would come visit him. He would, when the time come, he would always make excuses to why he can't come, or um, just it's always a reason or something why he never fall through on anything that he told our son. So let me just make a disclaimer before I get into the story. I do not believe in bashing the non custodial parent, whether it's a male or female. I really don't believe in that. And the reason I'm saying this, I might get a lot of backlash from a lot of women because, they do, and men too, because they talk bad about their baby mama or their baby daddy. But I'm just not a drama queen. I don't choose to do that. And for one, it's not in the best interest of the child. It's like you always have to be aware that that child is a product of you and that other person. So just say if the child has more features like the person that you despise or don't like for whatever reason, and you study saying negative things about that person, you could cause that child to feel like you feel that way about them too. I mean, you can't control what a child thinks when you're saying things about their other parent. Because at the end of the day, you both are their parents and the child loves you both. So I don't believe in like patting one against the other. So do throughout my co-parenting situation, I never badmouth his dad, no matter what he did in front of him. I'll say that. It was never done in front of my son. And even to this day, my son is 26 and I don't talk ill about his father. I just never do. For one, I mean, I have no emotional attachment, so I don't care as much. And then two, deep down, sometimes kids want that relationship with that other parent, and sometimes you can be tainting their judgment of the person. So I always told my son, and I told his dad the same thing, like whatever he thinks of you is going to be what you show him, not from what I tell him, because I just do not choose to bash the other parent. So moving forward, my son was in 8th grade. We have a regular normal night. I came home from work. I cooked dinner. The night is winding down. I'm checking a homework, and everybody's dispersing to go to their bedroom. At this time, I was living in a 3-bedroom townhouse. And so I'm still downstairs, like picking up some things. It's like 11 o'clock at night. So I'm still downstairs, like gathering some things and picking them up. And then next thing you know, I believe it was my youngest son said that my middle son came down and it was like blood gushing from his wrist. He had cut his wrist. So I immediately called the ambulance. They came. Prior to that, um, my son was feeling kind of down. So we had like the crisis center come out because in Wisconsin they had like what you call like a crisis line. So they did like a crisis evaluation for him. And they was like, oh, he's fine. Nothing's wrong with him. Mom, you okay? This, and that. 20 minutes later, he cut his wrist. And I'm like flipping out because as a parent, you don't know what's the reason behind your child, you know, causing self-harm. You don't know if it's something you did or something you said to them. I mean, at this stage, I didn't know what the reason was for him doing what he did. So we get to the emergency room. This is a hospital that I work at. And one of my son's friends' mother, she was an EMT at the hospital, and she's with me. She crying just as hard as I am, and she's trying to console me. And everybody speak very highly of my son. Just talk about how well mannered he is. How he, such a good kid. I mean, when I first moved to this town, I had parents like knocking on my door and wanted to meet me because they wanted to know who was this little boy's mother, because he's so um he have so much respect, so much manners. So they wanted to meet me, his mom. So anyway, they put him on a automatic 72-hour hold. So when you deal with adolescent behavior health, a lot of adolescent behavior health facilities, they don't have them like in your area, in your surrounding area. So they ended up finding him a bed at a hospital that was like 3.5 hours away from where I live. And at this particular time, I didn't have a driver's license. So I was like, oh my God, that's a whole nother story. Like, I didn't get my license till I was 36 years old. So yeah, but that's a whole nother story. So they take him to this adolescent behavior hospital that was like 3 hours and 3 hours and some away from me. So I drove with one of the crisis workers, drove me to the hospital facility while they did intake with him. And come to find out, the reason that he chose to cut his wrist is because of his dad. So the whole time of co-parenting, I allow his father to do what he can when he can. I didn't have him on child support. I never pressed for him to like you need to do this, this, and this. Because at the end of the day, I'm his mom. I'm gonna make sure my boy's gonna be good. And anybody know me knows that about me. Like, my boys are gonna be good no matter what. But in this particular situation, it was like all bets are off. Like, when he told me that him wanting to take his life was from somebody who's not presently there every day. Like, I'm here every day, you know, doing the daily things, checking homework, I love you, hugs, washing clothes, cooking your meals, all these things, what I'm saying? Just loving on my son from a mother's perspective. Like, and just because this person who he wanted to show like love and affection towards him did not, it made him want to take his own life. Because, see, social media, when you're dealing with kids and co-parenting, it can be a very harsh tool, because he was able to see his dad with his other child whom he lived with. He'll see on social media his dad posting pictures at the park, posting pictures at play zone. So he thinking like, what about me? Like, is he just doing this to me? So, like, social media, like I say, social media is like a highlight reel of somebody's life. You never know like what truly goes on if no one chooses to share this information with you. But it's like him seeing that made him feel less than, made him feel like, why his dad wasn't spending time with him, why his dad didn't want to come take him to places, so he like looking like, what did I do wrong? But my son was very good at masking that depression, because he's always like the jokester in the house, cracking jokes, being a comedian, imitating Tyler Perry and the Brown. Like, he do all this crazy stuff, funny things. And to so see him in such a like dark place, I mean, like, I'm been a domestic violence survivor, and even going through that brutal experience, watching my son struggle with his mental health, and as a parent, you feel so helpless because you don't know what to do. It's like you mama bear, you're your advocate. You wanna just like say snap out of it, but it doesn't work like that. You don't have no way of knowing how somebody view themselves. And I'm going to stop it right here, and I'll start with a part